Going to do some pipe bending, or Michael's going to do some pipe bending for us live. So please give us some love on this video.
Right guys, a bit of an impromptu video today. We weren't expecting to do any recording today, but we got on the subject of pipe bending, and Alan suggested doing a live, which is something he's not done before. So, you know, it might be a complete car crash, but it might work out quite well. So in which case, let us know and we'll do more if needs be. So subject of pipe bending. Loads of guys use pipe benders, lots of benefits associated with it. Less fittings.
Talk louder if you can, just because that's far away.
Yeah, less fittings, less leaks. So if you can get rid of using fittings by using pipe bends, you remove any risk of any joints cracking or leaking in future. So yeah, also it saves money. If you can use pipe and use bends instead of using fittings, you're not paying out for fittings. On top of that, you've also got the situation where if you bend a piece of pipe that is where you would use fittings normally, you can normally save on copper as well. Not a massive amount, but I'm sure there's some engineers who will save quite a bit on copper using pipe bending. So this is a pipe bender. I'm sure most guys will be quite familiar with them. This is a sort of budget M1 that we've got at the centre. I think we got these on BES, they're relatively cheap. So they're not brilliant, but they are a perfectly reasonable pipe bender. You know that for your entry level apprentices and whatnot. Yeah, get yourself one. Parts of the pipe bender, you've got a 22mm former and a 15mm former, and you've got the arm that grabs the copper pipe. You also get guides. There's a 15mm guide that you use with your bender. You get 22mm guides as well. You can, you use 22 for 22mm pipe and 15 for 15mm pipe. What we've done is we've done a little drawing on a piece of paper. So I don't know whether you can see that. I'll bring it across. But basically, we're going to try and follow that pattern with a pipe bender, and we're going to show you guys how to do it accurately. So do it in one piece of pipe, no breaks, just all fittings. So the first thing we need to do is we need to try and ascertain what our measurements are. We call them X dimensions. So this is a piece of pipe we're going to use. We're going to attempt to do this shape perfectly with this piece of pipe. And what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to put the 15mm pipe in the 15mm former. There we go. We've now got that in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a little mark at the back of the pipe, at the back of the former, just here. So all I've done is marked it right at the very back. I'm then going to use another 15mm pipe, and I'm going to put it at an exact 90-degree angle to the pipe that's in the bender. And I'm going to mark the centre of where that pipe meets the pipe that's in the bender. So I've done that. And now I've got two marks. I've got a mark that I marked at the back of the former, and I've got a mark where the second pipe met this pipe at 90 degrees. So what I'm going to do now, using a steel rule, is measure the distance between the two. So if I measure it, it's roughly 63 degrees. 63 mil. Told you it'd be a car crash. 63 millimeters. So I'll write that down, 63 mil, and that's the dimension that we're going to use for 90 degrees. We're then going to do the same for 45 degrees. So I'm going to rub out the 90-degree mark. I'm going to put the pipe back in the bender, making sure to line up that first mark at the back of the former. And then I'm going to put this pipe at a 45-degree angle to this pipe. And once I've done that, I'm then going to get this pen again, and I'm going to mark where the centre of this pipe would meet the first pipe, which is there. I'm going to remove it, and again I'm going to measure the distance between the two, and that's roughly 28 mil. So I'll write that down, 28 mil. So now I've got two measurements. I've got a measurement for a 90-degree bend and a measurement for a 45-degree bend. So now I've got those two measurements, you can write it down on the pipe bender, you can write it down so that you don't forget them on the arm, whatever it may be. They'll never change, those measurements. Once you get a new bender, you carry out that exercise for both 15 and 22 mil pipes, and you've got those measurements there. Those measurements in millimeters will never change. You will always need to take off 63 mil for a 15 mil 90 degree bend, or 28 millimeters for a 15 mil 45 degree bend, or 135 degree bend. So now we've got them, we're going to go on to trying to make our pipe, if you like, the shape of our pipe. So first of all, I'm going to put our piece of paper there, and I'm going to mark where the centre of our bend needs to be. So I'm going to put roughly where my finger is. That's where I'm going to put a little mark where I want the 90 degree to form. So I've marked that now. Once I've done that, I'm going to take off the dimension for a 90 degree bend, which is 63 mil. So let me get my measurement there. There it is. So I want to take off 63 mil, which takes me to about there. That mark that I've just made is what I'm going to put to the back of the former, and that should mean that my 90 degree bend will form exactly where I want it to. So I've put that mark, the second one I've made, right at the back of this former. I've put my guide in there, and again you bend it round until you've got a nice 90 degree bend, which is about there. Let me have a look. Just there. Needs a little bit more in that. I haven't gone quite enough with that. So put it back in the format. You need to be careful to make sure you get it exactly where it was before, otherwise you may risk don't get it perfect, you may risk just putting a ripple in the pipe. So it should be pretty much, yeah, it's 90 degrees there. So now I'm going to just check that it's formed where I wanted it to, which it has. In fact, I've gone a little bit over. Let's take a little bit out of it. Yeah, that's fine. So if I show you now, as best I can, you can see that that has formed a 90 degree bend pretty much where I wanted it to.
Can you just bring that nearer to camera?
Yeah.
So the camera can see.
The paper's bending as I'm doing it, so it's probably not a trial and error, but you can see that's formed a 90 degree bend where I wanted it to. There you go. So now I've done that, the next thing I'm going to do is look at how I want my 45, where I want my 135 bend to form. So I'll put my 90 degree bend back where it was. I'll then see where I want the start of my 135 bend to form, which is roughly there. Now, from earlier on, we know that the dimension for 135 bend was 28 mil. So going back towards the last bend I did, so you always work towards the last bend you did, I'll take off 28 mil, which was the dimension that we figured out at the start. 28 mil off that is there. And again, I'm going to just transfer that round the pipe, because the back of my former, I need to be able to see it. So you put the last bend you did at the back of the former. So in this case, I'll be doing it this way. I'll line the mark up with the back of the former there, and I will put the guide in there. Just eye it up so that you're not bending the wrong way. That's about right. And then you just put your 45 degree bend in, which is roughly that. And all being well, if I offer that up now to the drawing, I haven't put enough in that, I need to put a bit more in that. So I'll just little bit more in that bend. We should get a 45-degree angle. 45 degrees. Yes, a little bit more. Hold up with, yeah, that's all right, that. Yeah, nearest damn it. So I don't know whether Alan wants to bring that camera over now and you can see what I've done. But ultimately you can see the pipes and the bends have formed exactly where I want them to. So if we take that away, you can see what we were planning to do. And if I add that in now, you should see it's bent it pretty much perfect. And we've just done that by creating those X dimensions, those dimensions that we're going to take off the back of each bend. And that means that we can pretty much add as many bends as you like in series and they'll all be accurate. You can bend round things, you can do offsets, and you'll never be off. Just use maths to your advantage. That's pretty much it. It's really simple. A lot of guys just eye it up. If you take a little bit of time, if you want it, if it's on show or something, you can use this method, and you know that every bend you're going to create is going to be pretty much perfect.
Can you show how to do a step over?
Yeah. So if we were to, if I ask Alan just to draw two, or let me tell you what, we'll do a sort of a 50mm offset, or say a 70mm offset. So if I do one line here, and then I do another one 70mm away from it, 70mm away from that, and then draw that line. We've got two lines that are exactly 70mm apart. So if you had a 70mm offset to do, I'll use this piece of pipe. We'll use 45-degree bends again. So put your first piece of pipe in, offset it by 45 degrees. Again, I'll use this sheet of paper just to make sure that I'm going the right, I've bent it enough. It's pretty much there, that's 45 degrees. So then all I'm going to do is, I'm going to put this piece of pipe on the template and basically mark where I want the centre of the next 135 bend to be. So if I do that, and then I mark where the centre of that bend should form, which is here. We know that from earlier on in the video, I take 28mm off for a 135 bend. So we'll go 28mm back towards the last bend, which is there. And then, using that measurement there, I'm gonna bend it that way, so I need to transfer that round here a little bit. And then, I'm gonna put that to the back of the format again. There. Put that back in my guide. And then if I eye it up so that it's going the right way again. That's about right. Offset it so that it's coming back towards me. A little bit more. That's about right. Yep. You should see, if Alan wants to bring the camera up again, you'll see that the bend again is exactly where it needs to be. It's on the two lines. So again, all I've done there is just got my first bend 45 degrees, then figured out what distance my bend, what my offset needs to be. So in this case, it was a 70mm one, just because we just picked the first number that came into my head. Marked where I wanted the bend to form, took the dimension off that we figured out at the start, put that to the back of the former and then form the bend. It's really straightforward, really easy. Have a go at home, see what you think. Go on, mate.
Chris has put you could mark the angles on the former. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have done that, haven't you?
So yeah, you can do that. I normally, on my bender, I use a Sharpie and I've marked what the dimensions are at the start. You can mark them on the former. This is more a case of, I mean, you can eye it up. A lot of people do eye it up, so they'll just say, well, my 90 needs to be around about there. It's perfectly reasonable, it's personal choice. And if I was working in a loft or if I was working somewhere where not many people would see something like that, yeah, I'd probably eye it up myself. However, if it's on show, if it's something that you want to look really neat and tidy, then yeah, I'd probably use this method where I know every bend is going to be millimetre perfect. Yeah, I don't think this has gone too bad. I was expecting the car crash, but it hasn't been too bad.
You've done that right. You have actually done it to the lines that you've shown.
Yeah.
So when we look at that, it's hard to when we're not editing it. It's hard to show, but that's perfect. And then the other one again, that's what we're that's what we're drawn, and again that's perfect as well. What about a crossover one? What about over in a pipe? Can you do that?
You can, a little bit more complicated because the best way of doing it is by using, well yeah, may as well do it, mightn't we? So if it was a crossover bend, I'm sure Alan's just trying to ramp it up here so I do something wrong. He's determined to make me mess up on a video, isn't he?
Steve's asked for it.
Cheers, Steve. So I've drawn a flat line there, so that's simulating.
Steve's actually asked twice.
Has he?
He's asked twice if we can do it. So
right. Yeah. So there's a straight line, so that'd be indicating like a wall or a floor or something. If we just draw a 15mm pipe on it, and I'll use a rough spacing distance for a clip. So if we say that is the pipe that's it. So you've got a wall or a floor, and then you've got a 15mm pipe. We're going to try and make our pipe, we're going to perpendicular to it, but then we're also going to offset it round. So how I would do this, and again this is personal preference, is I would first form a 90-degree bend. So I would do that with this. I'd form a 90-degree bend. Again, as possible. The thing with modern copper as well is the quality of modern copper is quite poor. So we're starting to see a lot of imported metals, and you'll see. I mean, it hasn't done it today, but quite regularly you get ripples in pipes. It used to be down to bad benders and you know, poor equipment, but now it's more often than not associated with the quality of the metal. So all I'm going to do now is just offer this 90-degree offset as the centre of our the offset for the pipe. So we're going to go over it that way. But then,
so can I just show?
Yeah.
Can I just show that on there?
Go on, mate.
So what you're showing there, you've got your pipe there, and that's what he's showing you there. And then he's going to mark that on both sides.
So that's what we're going to do. You're better doing them at the same time so that you're not doing one then trying to do another. So I'll put them in like so, and then what I'll also do is mark where I want the bend to form for each one, which will be there. This is going to be quite tight, and there. So that's about right. Then all I'm going to do is transfer those marks around.
No pressure here, is there?
I know, yeah. I'm sweating on this one. Nice one, Steve. Take the 28mm off for each one, which is pretty much going to put the bend to the back of the former. 28mm. So yeah, the bend is pretty much right at the back of the former. So there's our bend for that one. And 28mm at the back of that. Right on the former again. that in there. I'm not going to be able to get that in. That's too tight. So I'll rub them out and I'll allow for a bigger offset. Obviously on site you do the same thing. You'd realise that you'd try to do the bend a little bit tighter, and then you'd allow a bit more for it. So I'm going to make our offset a little bit over. There's the start of the bend. There's the start of the bend. Take off your 28mm. There. Take off your 28mm. There.
Chris has asked, once you've done that, can you also shoot it with 22mm?
No. No, Chris. Good try though, mate. Well done. This was only meant to be a couple of minutes.
Oh dear.
Right. So, put that in. Right to the back of the former. Then eye it up.
So just to explain what you're doing on that there,
Yeah.
just you're eyeing that up so
Yeah.
that when you bend it,
It's straight.
It's straight.
It's so you don't end up with like a wobbly bend, because the more bend you put in, the more difficult it's going to be. And again, the difficulty with this now is you're trying to get it 145 or 135 bend. Sorry. So we need to be quite careful what we're doing. The more bend you add in, obviously, the more difficult it gets. Same this side. It's a great idea, Sal, well done.
no pressure.
I know, yeah. So there we go. Just eye this up again. Sod's law, this is going to turn out like a car crash, but it is what it is. And you just offset that 45 as well. I'll take a little bit out of that. So I've got a bit over on one of them, but not a million miles away. Just need to put a little bit more in this one. Not a good idea as well to get our own back. Should get the guys to take videos and send it.
I think they should, yeah.
Send videos, you guys doing the same thing. So yeah, it's a little bit of a big offset, but if Alan wants to bring that over, you'll see the general gist of it. Space for lagging and everything in there, but yeah, it gives you the idea.
You could move in there, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could.
No, it's a good bend, that.
So yeah, that just gives you the idea of what we've done. Again, using the same method. Under a little bit of pressure I might add, without the added benefit of being able to edit the videos and stop and change things and whatnot. Yeah, it's been interesting.
I think you've done absolutely amazing.
So yeah,
Please put a thumbs up on video. He's done well, really well under pressure. I wouldn't have been able to do that like that just live. So thank you for that, Michael. Brilliant, is that? Really
cheers,
good.
fellas. Thanks very much.
Thanks for watching. If you want us to do more videos like this, please put a comment below and send some of your own videos in, like Michael said. I'll put my WhatsApp details in comments as well. So if you've got any videos, send them in, and then we'll add them to end of some of Michael's videos. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, fellas. Take it easy.